Good day. Did Jesus' family think he was crazy? Well, let's go over that in this video. This is Mark 20 to 30. Then the multitudes came down again, so that they could not so much as eat bread. But when his own people heard about this, they went out to lay hold of him. For they said, He is out of his mind. And the scribes that came down from the Jerusalem said, He is Beelzebub, and by the rule of demons he cast out demons. So he called them to himself and said to them in parable, How can Satan cast out Satan? If a kingdom is divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house is divided against itself, the house cannot stand. And if Satan has risen up against himself and is divided, he cannot stand, but has an end. No one can end a strong man's house and plunder his goods unless he first binds the strong man, and then he will plunder his house. It's weird enough to think, how did Mother Mary forget about the virgin birth and speaking to Gabriel about this special child she was going to have? And in what happened with my family is my father saw all the magic that was happening around me. And instead of sticking to with what he saw, he stuck to the family. And the family all convinced him that it wasn't real, which was probably him being like, wow, was I going crazy? And it's questioning his own sanity in a sense. And I wonder if that's kind of the thing that happened to Mother Mary in this situation. Jesus' brother wouldn't accept or believe in him and talked his mother out of her own story in a sense. And this is something we can't prove, because this is something that's happened in mine, unless there's something in the Bible that I'm missing. If there is, please comment down below if you know. And so I see here is that they're talking about him casting out demons, but he's the demon, right? And this is what happens to the world when the world starts to see what true demons are. They see it in themselves, and instead of thinking they're the demon, it must be the person trying to cast out the demons, right? And that's what truth does, and that's what people that want the best for the world do. They speak that truth that cast out the demons. It's the truth that kills those ideological possessions that people carry, possessed by those demons, right? And so, yes, this did happen. Mary's mother and brother, and his mother and his brother didn't believe in him, and we're going to come and possess him and take him. We'll take care of him. He's not sane, And what happened with my family is my brother, which hadn't seen me in a ton of time, and sister, I got the whole story. You can I have it in. I'll chuck some of the videos down below. I've told the story more in detail in the past. I won't go over it all, but the whole thing is they heard some stories from the people that I was putting in some legal papers to, and I was going after as far as what they had done to me, and they're all connected to these big gang things. And then all of a sudden, people started calling mental health, including calling my family and saying I was doing a bunch of things that I was not doing. And they did this anonymously, so there was nobody's name put on it. They were saying that I was threatening people with knives and all this absolute bullshit. And so this, and my brother, who's always been envious of me, and my sister, they decide, instead of coming to see me to see how I really was and to see if I truly was a danger to anyone, they just called mental health. The police came and they put me into the mental institution. They put a shot in my arm, and that it almost killed me. And I'll talk about the dark night of the soul that happened to me in that time, and I'll put a bunch of the connections to the videos down below. But I went through quite an ordeal, and I've tried to speak some truth with my family and sit down and talk, and none of them want to speak on any of this. So I can see they just want to continue believing I'm crazy rather than believing that they may have done something like this to myself. And now I see that I've met two other people that are very powerful people and that are doing the will of God, and I know they are. And both they're one of my friends' families called him into the institution also, and one of the other guys, his dad's like, "You are effing nuts," and was like calling him crazy. So this is the classic thing that families will do, and and we can't be divided in our families, right? So does that make these people your family, regardless if they're connected to you in blood? Well, let's continue on and see what the Bible says. Then his brother and his mother came, and stand outside they sent to him, calling him. And a multitude was sitting around him, and they said to him, "Look, your mother and your brother are outside seeking you." But he said, answering him, saying, "Who is my mother or my brother?" And he looked around in the circle at those who sat about him, and said, "Here are my mother and my brother. For whoever does the will of God is my brother and my sister and my mother." So he's telling who his true family is. And that's what I've done also. The reason these things are passed down in time is because these are unbelievable dark sides of human nature that even happened with Mother Mary and Jesus' brother, right? All the people that were trying to speak the truth and do the will of God were hunted by the communities that should have loved them. And I know that they do this to this day, this witch hunt that's been going on for thousands of years. It's even easier to do it nowadays because our society is not connected to God anymore. So any of these stories are just put off as bipolar, schizophrenia, hearing voices, all this craziness. Yet these are absolutely things that are happening to people. And yes, you can have evil spirits speaking to you, or you can use your ego to listen to a spirit in the wrong way, and that's how you have to look at the fruits of what these people are to know what voice they're listening to, the angel or the devil. And I do realize, and what I've noticed is those that haven't been taught how to harness this connection to God are often on both sides of the polarities. But they haven't learned to harness that anger and that resentment and envy that they have on the world. So occasionally when they're in those states, they go into the devil, which those things bring out. So if you're a highly sensitive person that brings in the universal energies, you have to go through your traumas. You have to get rid of these resentments and stuff, so that when you have these deep connections with spirit, you don't just turn and do things. You don't mix in. You'll naturally mix in good and bad unless you really have something to follow, like the Bible or like very powerful people. Like you should be taking teachings from people that can help guide you through and teach that sensitivity to you, and I think that that's a thing that that we have to look at. What happened with Kanye West, and it's just an example, and I know that world is kind of it's hard for us to take any of that seriously, but I want to use an example because he's been diagnosed as bipolar and is called crazy and is called this and that, and they're getting rid of him, and they're trying to delete him. Well, because they can't kill anybody anymore, because that just makes those people live forever. That causes people to have eternal life. So instead, they want to kind of just make them disappear, right? And cut them off from life force and as much as they can, so that they can disappear, and they do dark things to control powerful people, and And, and I know that Kanye West is powerful, but he's also got some of this darkness in him that he needs to center. And but I do see that he is trying to speak some deep truths that need to come out. And recently he's just got this, he just shared a text on Twitter, and it says, this is a text to Kanye West, and he says, "I'm going to help you one of a couple ways. First, you and I sit down and have a lovely and open conversation, but you don't use cuss words, and everything that is discussed is because it is fact and not some crazy things that dumb friends of yours told you or you saw in a tweet. Second option I have, you institutionalized again, where you're medicated the crap out of you and you go back to Zombieland forever. Play dates with the kids just won't be the same." This is the darkness that's going on. And this is exactly what happened to me. Like my neighbor Tim was saying all shit, like I was parking at the bottom of his driveway and threatening his family. He said this stuff to me on the phone. Like, this is the ridiculousness of these people. So these are the things that are coming out, is they're trying to keep him controlled and trying to keep him under the thumb, and they're threatening to take his mind again. And that's actually one of the scariest things to happen to a person, when they inject you with that thing, because it kills you from the inside and you're a shell after. It took me at least 6 months to start to come back. And, was coming out of that was the darkest day of the soul I've ever experienced. And these are the dark things. I was raided by the police, and they did unbelievable damage to my property, and destroyed a crop. No charges. Stole $30,000 worth of medicine, all because my family decided to listen to these criminals around me. And so this is how they use your resentful family as to witch hunt you. So this is what they do to powerful people that are in a position to do damage to their narrative or to their money. They gang stalk them. They use the Mental Health Act against them. Did you know, British Columbia, you do not need to say your name if you're calling somebody in for mental health. You can call in anonymously. That's not like that in Alberta. And that is absolute corruption. And I know that this is how they deal with problems, because they don't want it to go to the courtrooms. Because once it gets to the courtrooms, then this house of cards will start to come down. And to be honest, what I'm seeing is the house of cards is coming down. And it starts at the top a lot of the times, and they're going to throw in they're going to throw in the thugs at the bottom and call them the darkness, or all of this stuff. The people at the bottom are going to fall first. That's how they do this. So it's just a matter of time. Built their legacies upon this evil money. Their foundations are built upon sand. And that means they are going to come down soon as the waters come. The flood is coming. But you don't need a boat this time. You just need righteousness. So much love and God bless. If you feel like supporting my channel, please like and subscribe and share. And have a lovely day.